Peace and greetings, family. Welcome back to the Healing Kitchen with Kay. Today, I am making a quick healing herbal tonic tea. This tea, as I'm working on the series of female reproduction and fertility, things like that. So we're going to continue kind of with that theme. This tea contains a couple of components. Let's start with the first one, which is cat's claw. The second is dandelion root. This is ground ginger. You can use the actual ginger if you want to. I just didn't feel like cutting it today, so I took the shortcut. And this is raw cinnamon. Okay. So basically, this tea is going to be good for, that's for what I'm making later. This tea is going to be good for the female reproductive system. I'll go into it more. But let's start with the cat's claw, because that's the complicated one in this dish, okay? Have a look. That is cat's claw straight from the Amazon, right? This is the root, the bark, whatever you want to call it, okay? This stuff can get a little bit messy and it sticks to everything, so I don't like to just kind of leave it out plain. But for the sake of this video, I'm going to do that so you can see what I'm doing. All right, so I'm going to be making a little less than a gallon of tea for someone. So I'm going to use, I'm going to say about a quarter cup of cat's claw. I think it's supposed to be like a quarter cup, half a cup per gallon, but since I'm mixing other things, I don't have to use as much. So I'm going to use about a quarter cup, like I said, of the cat's claw. Put that out there. Going to use a third of a cup, or about 2 tablespoons of dandelion root. Now this tea has a real tendency to be very bitter because cat's claw itself is very bitter. It's almost no way to kind of try to make it taste good, but I do mix it with what I can to try to help the flavor a little bit. Now one of the things, let me just show you real quick about how this looks. That is the cat's claw. And that is the dandelion root. Okay. Now, basically, when you're working with cat's claw, you want to take a lemon to activate the nutrients that are in it. Some things, you know, everything has its own different way. So basically, you want to just put a little bit of lemon juice on the bark itself. And kind of let that marinate and soak up for a few minutes. But basically what that does is it unleashes the chemicals that you're actually trying to get out of the cat's claw that are beneficial for what we're using it for today, which is the female reproductive health and things of that nature. Okay? Be right back. Bam. Okay, here I have a small pan with filtered water, about 3/4 of the way full, and I'm going to dump the rest of the ingredients directly in the water. Don't worry about it because I'm going to strain it later. If you have a strainer, you'll use it later. You don't need to use it right now because it's kind of, these have to boil for a set amount of time, so it's best to just kind of let them be in the water by themselves. Okay? If I can get this off the door. So that's the dandelion root. I'm still going to leave the cat's claw until it soaks up some more of the lemon juice. Then with I want to put about a half a stick of cinnamon. And hopefully this is going to offset the taste of the cat's claw a little bit. So about maybe an inch piece should be good. And I'm going to save the ground ginger for later. So right now we have the dandelion the cinnamon, and the cat's claw. Okay? Just want to make sure that this kind of gets good and saturated. All of the pieces get a chance to be affected by the lemon juice. And that's a very important step. Like, do not skip that step in the essence of saving time or whatever other reason you might come up with, because it's necessary. Otherwise, you're just going to get a really nasty tea that's kind of going to help you, but not really help you like it should, you know? Now, with this regimen of tea, you should drink about 3 cups of it, which is about a 4-ounce cup, not an 8-ounce cup, but 3 4-ounce cups, which is a total of about 12 ounces a day for at minimum 4 weeks, at maximum 6 weeks. After 6 weeks, you want to stop and give yourself a break for maybe about a month. And then if you want to continue, then you can go back on the same regimen. Okay? Now that this has absorbed some of the lemon juice, because there's no more on the cutting board, I'm just going to add that into the water as well. Now this, you want to boil it for about 10 minutes. Okay. So now while we have the other water we have the other herbs boiling in a pot. What you want to do is not just boil them, you want to put them over the heat and make them boil for at least about 10 minutes. And depending on how much water you use, it should be a deep dark red once it's done. In the meantime, we're going to prepare what I like to call the other water. This is the other half of the tea, since that's not obviously all that we need. So basically, we're going to start with some honey. This is my nice little decanter my cousin gave me. Isn't it cute? I love this thing. You can use a pitcher. You don't necessarily have to use one of these fancy thingamajig. But you know, my cousin, she likes to shop at all those fancy home stores. So she's always picking up stuff. And I'm always borrowing it. But, okay. Yeah, I licked it. It's my honey. Whatever. All right. So we've got the honey in there. We want to add a little bit of the ground ginger. I'm going to say about a good teaspoon's worth should do the trick. Because all we're adding this for, even though ginger has its own medicinal benefits, we're adding this basically to try to help the flavor. Okay? Because the cat's claw is super bitter and it's one of those things. Okay, hold on. Why you thought I was doing nothing? Look what I was really doing. Boiling water. So this is where I'm going to add about 3/4 of my water, because the rest is going to come from the pot boiling. So this is just basically honey and ginger. The same way, I don't know how I make my honey milk. It's like I like to separate it, let the honey and the ginger have a chance to be dissolved into the actual water, so you don't have a buildup of honey on the bottom of the container, and it just helps it, you know, mix together better. So I'll mix the honey and the ginger. So this is honey ginger water. You can actually drink this by itself and it actually tastes really good. Throw a little bit of chamomile leaves in there and you've got yourself a really good chamomile tea. But this is medicinal. So we're going to stir this up until it's mixed, right? It's going to be a little bit cloudy because the ginger makes it cloudy, so it should be about pea color. The herbs have been boiling for about 4 minutes now, so I'm going to give them a few more minutes. And I'm going to let this sit while I prepare to make my real dish. Okay. Okay, so while we wait, and let's talk about this cat's claw. Cat's claw, it helps with the immune system. It helps relieve symptoms of hypertension. It fights specific types of breast cancer. It aids in chemotherapy treatments. It guards you against diabetes, arthritis, inflammation, and if you have any guts or digestive issues, it helps with that as well. I don't know. That's all I can think of. Okay, so dandelion root. Dandelion root, the reason why I choose it to work in tandem with cat's claw is because they do a lot of the same things. So when I combine herbs, that's usually what I try to do, get things that do the same job and mix them together. So this one also helps with your blood pressure, inflammatory, it helps if you have anemia. This one also acts as a natural laxative if you're constipated or you want to flush out some stuff. Dandelion is really good for your skin, for your vision. It's a lot of things. I don't never remember everything, but I try to tell you as much as I remember. But I just know how to use them, so hopefully you get that part. All right? Okay, so now that that's done, we have our other water and we have our boiled herbs. I'm going to use the strainer that comes with the decanter. You can use whatever strainer that you have. But basically, you just want to mix the two without getting the herbs into the actual mix. Now, if you want, you can put the herbs inside of the strainer and let them kind of marinate a little bit. I'm just trying not to spill any because it's so hard to clean up. Okay, now watch this. Okay, so this thing has a neat little screw in top. Told you my cousin gets the cheap stuff, right? Okay, so anyway, I'm gonna put this in here while it drips all over the place. Bam. Tighten it like so and give it a good shake. Then I'm gonna let that sit for about 10-15 minutes probably until it cools down, and then I'm just gonna take the strainer part out, empty it out, put this in the refrigerator, and every morning, afternoon, or whenever you drink, you can just make yourself like a small cup. It doesn't have to be a full 8-ounce glass, 4 ounces, 3 times a day. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Preferably take it on an empty stomach and wait about 30 minutes before you eat. Enjoy.